Welcome to the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, where there's always another secret.
Hello, Sixers, and welcome to another episode of the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. This is episode 103, and today is February 14th, 2022, and we at the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies want to remind you, our dear listeners, on this Valentine's Day, that we love you. So thank you for being here. I'm Bill, and I'm joined, as always, by my aesthetic co-hosts, Amy and Jordan. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
I can honestly say that is an adjective that has never been used to describe me.
I didn't say pleasing.
Yeah,
I just said aesthetic.
Yes, I'm well aware what you said. Just saying, it's a first.
I just realized that today's February 14th. I should have said lovely. Oh well. Before we get started, we do want to remind you that the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is not a spoiler-free podcast. That means if there is something in the Cosmere you haven't read and you're worried about hearing spoilers, now is probably the time to head off. Read those first. But then, once you've done that, come on back, join the discussion. Tonight, we are talking about the art in Oathbringer. So, if you've read the Stormlight books and you've read the physical copies, you know there is a ton of art in here. And it's gorgeous, and Brandon has stuffed little bits of and nuggets of lore into them as well. So we're going to be talking about those tonight. I just realized, did we talk about the art in Words of Radiance?
I thought we had.
I thought we combined, or we might have only done Shallan's sketchbook, maybe?
I think we did just do Shallan's sketchbook, because I was going through previous episodes, and I didn't find that. So I could be wrong. Maybe we did it, maybe we didn't. I don't know. But tonight we're doing Oathbringer. But before we get into that, we do have a few reminders. First big one, of course, is that Dragonsteel Minicon 2022 is on November 14th and 15th in Salt Lake City. Guys, we are hoping to attend that again, and if you come, we would love to meet you there. We might organize a little meetup beforehand. We haven't really discussed it, so that's all still up in the air. But either way, we'd love to see you at the con. So if you can make it, start planning out your travel now.
Because, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Like this last one. This last one was for a Cytonic. No offense to Cytonic, not a Cosmere book,
and not a Mistborn book, which we've been waiting for a long time.
Yes. Yeah, just a little bit.
Not just a Mistborn book, but a closing out a series Mistborn book.
So should be pretty big.
Literally the end of an era.
Hey.
The second announcement is Amy's big win for us, because she was wonderful and scored getting Dan Wells to come on the show in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And we are, again, thrilled about that. So you want to be there. Yeah. So big stuff on the horizon. Now, for our listeners, if you listen to the podcast recordings or you watch the videos on YouTube, do remember you can actually join in and interact with us live via chat as we record each episode. Head on over to www.twitch.tv/innkeeperstable. When we record every other Monday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Please join us, take an active part in the discussion, steer the discussion, make things great. We have Doc FG in chat asking who is Dan Wells. That's probably a good thing that we should clarify. Yes. Dan Wells is one of Brandon's best friends and one of his co-hosts on Writing Excuses and his co-host on Intentionally Blank.
Yeah, Intentionally Blank, that's right.
And so he's a great author too. And he's co-written with Brandon. He's the one who they've been working on the Apocalypse Guard, which is the expanded universe for the Reckoners books. And apparently, the more and more they work on it, the weirder and weirder it gets.
Which sounds about right for those two.
Yeah.
No, if
Nice.
his books, I read. It's the series is starts off with the book. I don't want to kill you, or I'm not a serial killer.
I'm not a serial killer.
serial
Yeah,
killer.
sorry.
I was like, that's the last book.
Sorry. I went
Food
back.
heist guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what Doc said in chat is food
it's
heist.
pretty dark, but I love it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. He's also the DM for the Typecast RPG. And so he's the miniature version of I'm blanking on his name.
Matt
Mercer?
Matt Mercer. He's the mini version of that.
That's funny.
And so who by just as an aside is my pick to play Wax if they ever did a cinematic production. I believe I talked about that when
Yeah,
Alan was
you
on.
did. I think we talked about that.
But he's my pick to play both Wax and Wayne in an odd dual
Yes.
role.
Yes. And then we find out that the whole thing never happened. It's all just Wax or just Wayne playing out this whole theatrical production in his mind.
It's
in an
actually just a
asylum.
one-man play.
No, I'm just saying this is just his delusion in an asylum, and he's playing every part.
And it turns out he's been inside, being taken care of by the Ardents the entire time.
This is how those internet theories start, isn't it? Oh man. Okay, the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies is made possible by the support of our listeners and patrons. The show, of course, will continue to be free, but if you want to help us out, head on over to patreon.com/Cosmere Studies. Even pledging $1 or $2 per episode, that really helps us out as we work to improve the show. Patrons get immediate access to our Discord channel where you can talk about the show and the Cosmere with listeners. We've got a great community. We've got a lot of great discussions. You get early access to bonus episodes, exclusive access to other bonus content, and other good stuff. This week, we want to give a special thank to our patrons, Ben S. and Dr. Feelgood. Mm-hmm. And we also just recently hit one of our...
We did?
Our goals. Not recently, but...
Oh, I was like, did we hit
Semi-recently.
the first one when I wasn't
We
looking?
are within we're within $2 of the next one though. I
But-
just looked. So
But a few months ago, we hit our stretch goal. So, Jordan, why don't you tell us about what's going on with that?
Indeed, my friends, I'm glad that you have come here today because we have set up the Cosmere Studies store. That's right. If you go to store.streamelements.com/Cosmere Studies, I think also merch.streamelements.com/Cosmere Studies, you can buy swag. That's right. It's the currency of the internet. It is swag. I'm putting a link in chat for those of you live on Twitch. Those of you who are listening to this later, we'll be putting it in the show notes, of course. I
I'll
tried
probably
to
put it up on our social media stuff too. I just didn't do it yet because we hadn't announced it officially.
Yeah, we wanted to do it live on stream. We have T-shirts, both men's and women's T-shirts of a variety of colors. We have hoodies, we have stickers, we have a mug, we have phone cases, and because I found out we have a minky blanket, which I don't even know what minky is, but it sounds
Minky
fancy
is-
as all get out.
It's
just
very, very
super,
soft.
super soft. Like it's what you
Ooh.
put on like baby blankets, but it's also kind of a pricey fabric too. But it's
It
very
is.
soft.
I tried to put the number 16 in all prices. The mug in particular, it must be very important because it costs $16.16. I did it because I could. Unfortunately, can't do it for some reason on the phone cases, which has me absolutely livid. Because no matter what I do, it won't let me change the price. I can't figure it out, and I'm slowly going
saw the
insane.
16 cents. Okay. Yeah, I got that now.
Yeah,
So if you want to bedeck yourself, adorn yourself with our logo,
festoon yourself.
festoon?
I think so. It's a
It
word.
works. It works.
Festoon? I don't know. It feels insulting to our fans.
Let's find out if it's insulting to our fans. Give me a second. I'm going to find out. You keep plugging this away.
But yeah, so if you want to, rep your fandom of the SICS podcast, head on over. Again, that is store.streamelements.com/Cosmere Studies.
This is a festoon adorned with ribbons, garlands, or other decorations. This is a stretch on my.
We don't have ribbons
No, not yet.
or garlands.
You could always put a sticker on a ribbon. No, that's not a very good option either.
Look,
But, you know.
you do whatever you want to do to festoon yourself with this stuff. That's
you
not
have
on
something
us. That's
super-
on
yeah.
you. You're the festooner.
And if you have something super specific that we're not selling and you want us to, we can look into that.
Technically, if you're festooning yourself, you're the festooner and the festoonee.
That's a good point.
You're festoonious? Yeah, that's not
I went to college and got a
We
degree
know
in English.
words.
Okay, guys, let's talk about these pictures because
don't know,
I went to
can I stay
college,
on
learned
this
about
topic?
words, and pictures are worth thousands of those.
Yes, indeed. If you're watching this by listening to it, don't focus on that. You're going to be missing something today, so because we're putting the art actually up. On
No,
the
just
stream.
open the book in front of you and read along.
Or you can do that, but I prefer my solution.
Or go to the Copper Mind and pull the art up there, or Brandon's website. There's all sorts of places they can get the art. They're not
there.
missing out on anything.
All right, we double check, make sure. Nope, hotkeys are now starting to be bad. Why? We're slowly going insane again.
You can't do that, Jordan. It's not allowed.
Look. One of these days, we all know I'm going to lose it. What if I go here? It was
That reminds
working.
me
In,
of that.
it was working in the pre-show.
You're
was
doing great.
It was working in the pre-show.
Bravo.
I am not happy.
I'm not sure what is wrong. It looks like it's up.
Yes, I'm trying to make sure the hotkey so I can move from image to image. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck looking at a shard the rest of the show.
This is great radio.
This is amazing radio. Anyway,
it's
just
not
start
even my
talking
fault
about
this
Ashar's
time.
art, both of you.
Okay, so
It
very
looks like a
first
cult.
thing, very first thing we see in the book,
Yep.
because this is the inside front cover, is this gorgeous art
It's
of
super pretty.
Ishar.
But like the hoods on the people below him totally makes me think of a cult, especially knowing.
He
about
absolutely
him.
looks like a
Yeah.
cult leader, which
Yeah.
makes sense considering what crazy road he goes down.
Considering
each of them have their
he
own,
is a cult leader.
has their own,
Yeah.
magical, illness, and his sort of becomes this delusion of grandeur. He claims to
Yeah.
be, the god priest.
It almost there's like a planet behind his head, and it almost looks like that's like a halo around him, kind of with how it's placed.
I was
Like a really
thinking
giant one, but
I was thinking it was the blue moon because they talk about the
Yeah.
3 moons of.
Those
it
are
probably
Ashar.
is.
I think those are the 3 moons behind him.
yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, you can see he's lit up once in a blue moon.
Wow.
I can't get the hotkeys to work, but I still got puns.
Do you?
Yeah, clearly,
Must you?
always. You knew what I was when you picked me up.
Oh man.
I didn't pick you up. You just followed me.
Oh, well, that's close enough. Anyway, yeah. No, it's one of the things I like this image of him just because I do like to imagine this is the guy, even though we know this is in world art, and so it's embellished by thousands upon thousands of years of theology. But I like to think that of this guy as the one who is just absolutely mopping the floor with all the windrunners, just because, like, it'd be
He
as
doesn't
if
look like it.
no, it looks like if like Santa Claus went on like a keto diet or something and then started beating the crap out of people.
Yeah, there's
Keto
actually
Santa, and there's a title. There's an episode title.
there's actually I can't remember if it's keto, but there's a guy who looks like Santa who went on a super big diet, and he's like wears attractive suits and stuff like that, and there's like pictures of him around the internet. It's really kind of
like
crazy.
a GQ Santa.
I don't remember what the name is, but yeah, it's like
Stupid, sexy Santa.
I don't remember. I'm missing the wording, but there's a guy out there who has his pictures around, and it's just funny. So
Oh man. But yeah, so this is the guy we talked about last episode. He
and he does not
know,
look beefy at all. Like, but
Tom's out of it for a while, and everybody starts having delusions of grandeur.
just multiple thousands of years. It's fine.
Everything's fine here. How are you?
All right, Jordan, let's go on to the next one.
All right. Well, let's see. We're gonna do this the hard way then. where I just start deleting things from the playlist. There we go.
Okay,
No.
can we go back to Ishar?
No, we can't. There's literally no way. And
No way.
may God
Not
have
happening.
mercy on your soul.
What was the line from Willy Wonka? You can't go back. You have to go forwards to go back. Okay,
See,
so
I was thinking, you lose. Good day, sir.
okay, so Shalash. So she looks completely different than I pictured.
Yeah.
At least
and,
this depiction of her.
like I always thought her hair would be. I thought her hair was dark,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
But I think this is supposed to be like.
Well, like, she's the patron of the
Magic hair.
Lightweaver, so her hair is whatever color she wants it to be.
Well, yeah, like
that's
she's
true.
she's basically wearing a dress out of like the all the
Crystals?
colors of the wind.
Crystal light.
Do you guys remember the little controversy that went on with this picture?
No.
No.
So, I'm not 100% sure on all the details, but from what I remember, they like printed new copies of this or changed some things for different versions of it where her dress is less see-through, because in the one that I have, which is a first edition normal printing, you can see a little bit more underneath that crystal dress than I would certainly be comfortable with, and
I
a
hadn't
lot
heard
of
about
other
that.
people. Yeah.
I mean, you can
So-
kind of see a bit of her safe hand.
Scandal.
Oh,
know.
man.
Maybe that's why she's trying to destroy all the images of herself. I would never wear that.
Oh, man.
But it's
No, but,
interesting,
like,
all the broken masks around her.
Well, light weaving and
Yeah.
different masks and disguises and. But
I
yeah,
also
hadn't even
find-
thought about the safe hand part.
I also find it interesting because she is always depicted as, this dark-skinned Makabaki woman. Mm-hmm. But her father is our next picture, which is Jezrien, and he's depicted as very distinctly Alethi. So
But I
I get
mean-
we may have learned something about her mother
Yeah.
through this.
Yeah.
Could be. No,
But I just find that interesting.
Though there are also, I mean, I know
This-
this is in our world at least. There are sometimes people who will be a lot paler and they'll have a lot darker kids. But I don't know how often that happens.
True, but this is
This
very
is-
clearly Makabaki.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like this, like the others feel like they're part of the same universe. Of all the images of the heralds we have, this one's the most out there. This looks like the cover of like an 80s synth album.
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, that
She's like standing on like a desert and there's like the horizon kind of behind her and it's orange.
Yeah, this
and
is
like
the
stars.
inside image of a Rush album. It definitely is.
all right. Well, let's move on to Jezrien.
There's Jezrien.
This is I put this picture up
Press F
on
in
the
chat.
most recent social media post.
So this sword will also be recognizable as the blade of the assassin in white. At least the original blade of the assassin in white. He has a much different
Friendlier?
blade now. Friendlier, yeah.
Talkative.
Chattier, yes. He has a chattier sword now.
Garrulous.
So what I find interesting about this, first of all, is his features. It reminds me sort of like depictions of like traditional Mongolian horde members.
Yes,
With
and that's
the very
that's
thin,
what the Alethi are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And-
Alethi are. Brandon has said that that's what would map most directly from our world is Mongolian.
Okay. Somehow missed that amongst all the study I've done.
Like he said it wouldn't actually map directly to anything but that's probably the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing I find interesting, because we know, he's the King of Kings and, Herald of Kings or whatever they call him.
Herald of Geeks.
Yeah. But he has these really bold color combinations of gold, red, and blue. Mm-hmm. Like it like this guy looks kingly, like,
Yeah.
And he's got all those stones on his belt buckle, or the equivalent of a belt buckle. And I'm thinking those are supposed to be all the different orders probably on there.
Jezrien's a Texan?
I don't know if it's a belt buckle, but it looks like that because it looks like he has like a metal tabard thing going down, as well as his fabric.
Jordan, care to weigh in on?
So just as a weird aside, we do have an unusually large number of Mongolian immigrants to Texas.
Really?
I don't know why, but there is
Interesting.
there's at some point there is a few Mongols who moved into Texas, and they
Interesting.
So yes. Now, I don't think that's the origin of Mongolian barbecue, but it is still out there.
Wow. Okay, let's just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So this one is it Vedel or Vedel?
I would say Videl, but I don't know.
Vev.
I haven't heard it said aloud.
Jordan says Vev because it's symmetrical and it works, and so why
Yeah.
not? But she's the patron of the Edge Dancers, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have it.
Which is my order. So
And mine.
that's kind of cool. For some reason, she's the one who stands out as fitting in the least to me. I don't know why.
I'm sure they had a really good reason behind the costume, but I look at it and I'm like, it looks like they're going for Roman bed sheets going on.
That's not really. I think with me, it just throws me off more because the wheel image behind her is so colorful.
Oh.
And contrasts with everything else being so white, and so it just throws me off a bit. I'm not like, this isn't criticism of it at all. It's just different. Like the others tend to be more.
They look like they're standing
have a more
in the world.
have a more solid theme.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, you have white colors. And
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something.
Stop
interesting
swearing.
about it.
There.
I'm not on
Warbreak.
Nalthis.
But the Nalthians who are listening, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
Their
know.
poor ears.
But
I don't know.
She has a lot of I guess would be religious symbology, because she's sitting there, she's got a compass in one hand, or at least that looks like a compass to me,
it looks like a measuring compass,
and
not
keys in the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, what the crap is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know the keys have some sort of significance in their religion. There's a word of Brandon somewhere about that, but he doesn't clarify at all. It's like a symbology thing.
Yeah,
But it's
I
one
do
of-
remember in previous Herald images we talked about how it seems like they're almost coming from like different art periods, like how some lined up with Renaissance art or other different things that I'm forgetting all the words for right now. But it seems like hers is a different era, especially with like the way they chose to do her background, like you were saying, of the white, and then color.
Mm-hmm.
But
And with a religion that has 1,000 of years old history, it makes sense that not all of the art would come from the exact same
time period, yeah.
era, time period, what have you. Okay, so next we've got a map of all the Oathgate locations. Really cool imagery. And we get some interesting information because we know now where all of the Oathgates are. And so, and the video I'm watching that Jordan pulls up lags a little bit, so I can't really see it. Now, the version that you've got up, Jordan, is actually a colorized version, which isn't what's in the books. The books is a black and white have a black and white version of this.
Sorry, my mic was turned off. I pulled this straight from Brandon's website, so some of them got a little color to them apparently, and they grayscaled it for the book. But this looks
Which
very
makes sense.
medieval, the way the art's done at the bottom.
Yeah,
That
it's
just-
very medieval, and like with the dragon and the lion type thing on top too, which is interesting because they don't really have lions or dragons. Like
They have dragons, just not Chinese
Well-
ones. I mean, seriously, the dragon's a god on this planet.
well, yes, but Kaladin had no idea what they were.
Yeah.
So how commonly are they known? But like the lion part throws me a little bit because they don't know what.
Well, it's
those
like a
are.
lion rat.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that could also sort of be a depiction. I mean, that could be cultivation and honor.
Oh.
I mean, yes, we know that Tanavast is human,
But he could be like honor and lions and that kind of.
Or it could be like a crest or something. You know, who knows? But there could be some sort of symbology going along with that, because we know cultivation is a dragon.
Mm-hmm. So that would fit, yeah.
And Urithiru is the embodiment of the sibling, which is the combination of both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a thought. The problem is the dragon and the rat lion thing look almost like they're about to fight.
Or French. You never know.
I mean, their tongues are out. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Just saying it's there.
Can you feel?
And this is why I'm single. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is a map of Alethkar. This starts a sort of theme, not theme, but a running through line across a lot of the imagery, and particularly in this book, because this is a map of Alethkar, and at the very bottom it has an annotation in a distinctive handwriting that says, "Annotated for your convenience." This is Naj's handwriting, which has been confirmed. I think Isaac mentioned that when he was on the show.
Yeah.
Is that if you see this distinctive handwriting, that's Naj's handwriting. And that context, I feel, adds something to a lot of these images.
Because it adds Hearthstone.
Well, that's the only thing in this image that's been
marked,
notated.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what it says is that Naj has taken note of Kaladin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or at least of where Kaladin is from.
And wasn't he the one who was marking down all of their tattoos and stuff like that? Or is that a later picture in here? Or I could have sworn they had a guy who was making drawings of all their brands, like the tattoos that they got in, like Kaladin had, like his shash.
I am not remembering
Not in this book.
Is it not in this book? Okay, I couldn't remember which book it was in, but I could have sworn there was a guy there, and it was heavily hinted or suspected that was Naj. So,
if it's in that,
if that's the case, I've missed it.
But I could have, yeah.
I mean, we have 4 books now with a lot of artwork in it, so you can be forgiven.
Big books.
Yeah, not this book.
So, this image isn't necessarily one we need to dwell on, but just that point is worth noting. If you have the books and you see this handwriting show up, that's Naj writing a note, possibly to Chris, possibly to somebody else, but
we don't know.
That's him. Okay, the next two are worth talking about kind of together, because this is when Shallan starts drawing in Urithiru and things get kind of weird, like there's something just looks wrong in them, and she starts noticing this wrongness.
Yeah, this is her during her Eternal Darkness phase of drawing.
And so the first one is of the Tower Urithiru, and then the second one is a corridor that goes down.
Scary.
Yeah.
And, of course, they were influenced, we know now, by the presence of Reshafir, the Midnight Mother, who just sort of made everything feel kind of funky inside. And as a light, I'm guessing it's as a light weaver, that's why she noticed these things, because they have that enhanced perception.
Yeah, and she was picking up on the wrongness, and it was affecting her, especially her, where she draws a lot from memories. That's sort of how
see into the spirit, which also sort of see into the cognitive realm.
Yeah, so I think that's what was going on. The corridor one here in particular definitely looks like it could be out of something like Hellraiser or some other horror film where you go into the depths of hell.
I was thinking Amnesia.
Yeah.
That game.
Yeah, let's get chased by a bunch of mannequins in this hallway. That seems about correct.
No, thanks.
Moving on. And then the next one is
scary one.
like basically we have several sketches from Shallan that are a little bit off. I don't know much about this horse's image.
I think
other
this
than
is her.
It's got a fractal pattern that kind of looks like pattern.
I thought she had. Go ahead.
I thought this was her, because they always talk about like these skeletal horses when people are under the effects of the thrill.
I
don't recall that at all.
Yeah, it's dying. It's like these dying animals that are at the edges of their vision when they're under the effects of the thrill, and they like bleed red. And so I took it as her trying to draw like from someone talking about it, but that's only because I remember Dalinar talking about the thrill.
I don't remember that at all.
But there's nowhere in the story where that would fit.
The only thing I can remember is I could have sworn she was going with Adolin and like she was drawing while he was riding the horse or like just hanging out with the horse. And I could have sworn she was sketching then, but I don't know if it's this, and it's been long enough that I'm not sure.
It might be. I don't know.
So that's the only thing that I vaguely remember.
All of
but
Oathbringer now.
It's been a while. My goodness.
If our listeners are aware, please email us because I'd like to
or
know.
If you're in chat, let us know.
Of course, if you're in chat, but
yeah.
Even after the fact, if you know and we haven't figured it out, please send us an email because I'd love to.
We're open to saying, hey, from last time, this is where somebody found it. So.
And then the next one, where Shallan chases down the Spren to eventually find the Midnight Mother. Mm-hmm. You have this little sprite-looking thing.
It looks like a Muppet that's been tortured or something. It's just creepy.
Mana.
I've only seen that one time, but Gonzo liked it. That's right, Muppet Treasure Island references. Let's torture the rat.
Oh, you and your hobbies.
I need to watch that again. But it's sad. Nobody else in my family likes Muppets.
Okay, the thing is, now that I see this image and you've put Muppets in my head, well, the Beaker's one, but the other one I was thinking of, thank you for making me a part of this.
That's probably my favorite moment from that entire movie.
Oh, man.
There's so many non-Muppeted people who are very confused
just
right now.
Oh, why? Why do you talk about
If you are a non-Muppeted person, you need to go Muppetize yourself. And we
still like you anyway, because I'm married to a non-Muppetized person.
I'm saying this for your benefit.
I know.
not for your benefit, Amy. Your benefit, dear listener.
Yes.
Okay, so in this next one, Shallan's art style kind of solidifies a little bit.
Well, I think
kind
at this
snap
point,
back to reality.
I think she because she was out of the tower.
Yes. Well, and I think this is after the Midnight Mother has been chased off, isn't it?
Well,
it's been a while.
Oh goodness. Or at least has backed off a little or something. It's really hard to keep track of exactly when it happened versus other things. And as I said, they're big books.
So this image is actually very useful in the next book, because that's when we've got Kaladin Kaladin playing Die Hard through the air vents of Urithiru, and it gives you a little bit of perspective of that. Mm-hmm. And
this was helpful.
And it's just the sheerness of
it's huge.
Of Urithiru, like the sheerness, like how it's flat in the back, is just interesting.
It's like if a wedding cake was a city,
and chopped in half.
Yeah. And I did like your little note that it's like there's a little windrunner who's just happens to be in the corner there.
Yes, Shallan's been sketching, and she decided to draw a windrunner in the corner. So, there's a part more of Vale who.
Yeah.
Sorry, at this scale, I forget. Is there actual words underneath this? Or is that women's script? Okay.
It's words. It says, the city is incredibly huge. A chasm fiend's back would not reach the 4th floor.
And I think each of those tiers is 10 tall, isn't it? 10 floors tall?
Something like that. Yeah, there's little lines to indicate and make me think there's 10 levels in each one.
Yeah, so a chasm fiend is like part way up that first tier. Not even halfway up that first tier.
We know how big they are.
They're big and scary.
Just the concept of an entire city, but vertical.
Well, it's 100 floors.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a skyscraper.
Well, except that it's also broad.
Yeah. Well, it helps when you build it into a mountain, but
Yes.
a modern skyscraper benefits from modern engineering. They cheat a little bit by having the foundation go up with them, but
that and the tiered construction.
Yeah.
And all those arches too. And flying buttresses.
So many buttresses.
Language.
It's a
It's Valentine's Day. That doesn't mean you can get dirty.
Amy likes big buttresses, and she cannot lie.
Hey, I took interior design classes, and I took the same one twice. Anyway, but flying buttresses are a thing, and that's what's on that.
They're a thing.
I know they're Gothic architecture. Usually, it's Gothic.
That is so goth. So let's
Amy and
moving
her
on.
Gothic architecture phase.
Freshman year, there we go.
Okay, so
Let's
move on to the next one. So this is a folio, and again, we've got more annotations from Naj, where it's got just this gorgeous image of the Voron Hava, and
It's
apparently
a
this comes
cosplayer's
from
dream.
one of the folios. If you remember later on in Oathbringer, when Adolin is, I think it's. In it at least is in Oathbringer. I think it happens other times. But Adolin's flipping through the folios when he realizes, oh no, I'm out of fashion. My uniform is no longer in fashion. What do I do?
I could have sworn the Words of Radiance was where he was seeing that.
So Shallan sees him flipping through, but in this one, when he's talking to his tailor.
Oh.
And he finds out,
that's right.
Things have advanced while I've been in the Shattered Plains.
Yeah.
And he's just absolutely horrified.
It's like, oh no, I got to get up to date. This is not okay. I'm out of season.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting, just looking at this Hava, because I can't remember where it was, but he talked about how the Hava was becoming a little more militaristic looking. Because this does look a lot more like, a Hava version of
like a uniform.
the Alethi uniform.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Like the two underneath are a little less that way, but the one that the main one that she's wearing, and then like the top miniature one is definitely more military style.
It's interesting that Naj has taken note of this because the fact that Naj has made annotations on something like this and sent it on. And he says, though fashion elites in Leofor have presented more daring designs in past folios, they found there is no quicker way to influence Alethi and Vedna styles than through sudden changes over time in the traditional Voron Hava. So this is apparently, just sort of a centerpiece of their fashion world. And so the way that people who want to influence these fashions do it is they tweak the Hava, everything else sort of follows suit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some modern clothing that does the same kind of thing, but I don't know fashion well enough to know what that would be.
Maybe jeans?
Yeah, I guess jeans are probably close, but jeans are for men and women versus the Hava is just
right.
for
But
women.
I'm saying, because you can sort of track through fashion, because suddenly bell bottoms, I think, are coming back in, aren't they?
Yeah, they're coming back again.
Of course, so are mom jeans. So I don't understand what's going on. I don't know.
Jeans
anything.
are weird. Yeah.
So. Okay, so the next one is a peek into Navani's notebook, and for some reason, no idea why, she's designing ships.
Yes.
That probably won't come back. Ever again.
No.
I like the scorpion thing she has designed in there too. Like she's got like a scorpion walker thingy going on.
Well, I just love the upside down ship look. Like,
oh yeah, with the sail underneath. That's crazy.
Well, but it makes sense because you're sailing the skies, and so. Oh, now that said, the fourth bridge doesn't follow this design because it's directed entirely by the Fabrials, the conjoined Fabrials.
Yeah, she was trying to figure out how to sail through the air, and I actually think that when it comes time, they'll figure that out. Because,
well, I mean, with Dawn Shard, they've learned how to only partially link because with the use of aluminum and all that. So
and have things push other things up and stuff. So
no, but the I like the note because the final one is the one that I imagine a lot more like what the fourth bridge looked like. But that's the one that's apparently Yesna's favorite. Because there's women's script on this one.
Yes, which has been translated by more intelligent fans than us.
Because I want to know what it says, but I'm like, oh dear, that is.
To be fair, both Brandon and Isaac have said that without a reference, they can't read the women's script either. So they have to have the translation reference to read it themselves.
Well, it's like if they took an actual waveform and made it into a language. I mean, it's kind of awesome, but.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love her. I love how first of all, the first one, too fanciful. Ha? Question mark. Like, I love that she's amusing herself with her own drawings, but like, even she's sort of like, ha.
Oh, so randomly aside, when we were at MiniCon, there was a girl who came by and signed our little like emailing list, and she signed her name in the women's script.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I was like, what do you... Oh, my goodness. She was doing it. And she put her name in normal English, too. But it was cool that she could do that. So.
That's
like the people
awesome.
who can speak Klingon and stuff.
Yeah, oh, my goodness. More power to you, people.
Okay, the next one, we probably just want to read through that because it's very, very long. This is a treatise on the Alethi glyphs. And I can't remember, was this Naj as well? Was this in his handwriting?
I don't remember. I'm trying to find it. The next one.
Yeah, that's definitely his handwriting at the bottom.
Where are you?
Definitely his handwriting at the bottom.
Can't find it. I'll just look at the picture.
That's page 519 for
519.
following along.
Okay, good. Because
in the hardback. In the hardback.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, yeah. So I think this is what I was talking about, how Naj was writing down all the glyphs, and he was talking to him, and I think Doc said in the chat that, it was Texas, said that it was, quote-unquote, an ardent, as far as they could tell, that Bridge 4 could tell. But,
okay,
I think
Jordan, what you've got pulled up is not the Alethi glyphs.
It's not?
No, that is at the very end,
that's some...
Well, then I'm missing...
I think that's the Ketic at the very end.
Then I'm missing that one.
Anyway,
okay,
so,
I'll just...
Yeah.
Anyway, so what?
Go ahead.
No, so I was just going to read through it. If you had a comment, I don't want to...
No, I think this is the scene I was remembering was the discussion about this.
Yeah. So he says, my friend... actually, I can't... I'm having trouble reading that. Amy, do you want to read that?
Yeah, I will try. The secrets uncovered infiltrating the Calligrapher's Guild are more mundane than expected. I prefer bloodstains to ink stains any day, so next time send me somewhere I'm more likely to die from wounds than from hand cramps. By purity's eye, if you ask me to draw another glyph... ... And then the next paragraph. The darkest secret of the guild is that the phonemes within a glyph can sometimes be deciphered. Sorry to shatter your theories of dark rites and ancient moon dances. But glyphs aren't pronounced or read. They're memorized, and they change over time till the original collection of phonograms is almost unrecognizable. Take, for instance, the glyph for storms, Xeris, and it works its way through 2, 4, 6, 7 different ones. So my Chinese is terrible. I did take a year of Mandarin in high school, and this kind of makes me think of that a little bit.
Yeah, Japanese kanji follows the same sort of...
Yes, Japanese kanji is taking Chinese characters, and I can't remember what they call them in Chinese. But, like, there are the more traditional ones, which are the harder to read, much more detailed and stylized. And then there's also simplified, I think, is usually. And so people will sometimes be able to read both. Sometimes they usually read just more simplified. If I'm totally getting this wrong, please let me know, listeners. But this kind of just hints at that things have shifted as they went through it. But that's what I'm remembering from that, though my Chinese is awful. And my Japanese is sad, too. But do you want me to keep reading, Bill, or just kind of summarize?
Yeah, just sort of a brief.
So they're talking about the different glyphs. glyphs have simplified versions for small writing, and then he's like, oh, compare these ones. This one sort of looks like a cephalopod. There's even older ones. Even older, the Xeris are the glyphs used in the first Oath of the Knights Radiant. These resemble more the complex and readable glyphs representing the orders of knights than they do any middle or modern Alethi glyph. And then he has some symbols. I guess these are the smaller glyphs are the alphabet, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And those make me think of kind of a mix of like the little bit of Arabic that I've seen, as well as like katakana a little bit. But I'm sure there's even better comparisons, but it kind of makes me think of that. Maybe a little bit of Hebrew kind of going on.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's just kind of interesting to read through it and look really close. So
yeah, the fact that Brandon included this, I thought was really cool, because it's basically a treatise that that Naj has written, but it's a way to give us an info dump in an in-universe fashion.
And you can skip past it and just keep reading the story, or you can go, oh, and then really dig into it more.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about the world building itself, it's just a nice big juicy chunk that you can sink your teeth into.
Well, and just that little line about infiltrating the calligraphers guild.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the background, and just these little notes. The same sort of thing happened in the Mistborn books with with Era 2 with the broadsheets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's hints of a broader story going on in the background.
Talking silverware and things like that.
And it makes me want to see more from Naj. I'm just like, I know about Naj. I want to talk to. I want more. Like, we've had a single scene with him in it, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Maybe, just in Secret
Important
History.
Scene.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It was a very important scene.
Mm-hmm. Naj saved Scadrial.
Well, and he's also, he's Isaac. Yep. He's Isaac's little insert into the saga, based on his mispronunciation of a character from the Arithmetist.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so now moving on to the next folio. This one is on contemporary Thaylen female fashion.
Yes.
And again, we get more annotations from Naj. He says, this folio page targets the Thaylen merchant class with styles heavily influenced by the fashion worn by the nobles of Queen Fin Renamdi's court. So, I mean, it's just basically a look into Thaylena, which is cool because we spend a lot of time in Thaylena in this book. Mm-hmm. And so it just sort of gives us a visual connection.
And it's just really cool. Like, from the cosplayer, angle, it's really nice to be like, oh, here are some different outfits you could do. Mm-hmm. And they're just right there.
And then on top of it, you get to actually see what their really weird looking eyebrows are.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's an excuse to say, okay, people, I know this whole eyebrow thing can be confusing. This is what it looks like.
This is what it looks like. It's really not as weird as you're thinking. And
it's really weird looking to me. I hate droopy things. I hate, like, my hair's driving me nuts. Everyone's like, Jordan, your hair's short. No, it needs to be cut real soon. And so eyebrows like that, I'd just go insane. I'd just be like, stupid eyebrows.
It's like Katara's hair loopies from Avatar.
Oh yeah, the little
Airbender.
loopies that are there all the time.
Except that they come from forward instead of above.
Yeah, like, I've toyed with doing a Risen costume, and so I was always like, how in the world am I gonna do the eyebrows? Because that's a very big
extreme eyebrow threading.
No, I'm pretty sure I would. There's methods to do that, and it still scares me anyway. But yes, pretty outfits.
The next one is just a map of Kholinar. No notations, which I was sort of sad of because I wanted to see what Naj thought of Kholinar. But the one thing that did stand out, because there's a legend in the bottom left-hand corner, is the Order of Talinelat, which they don't really talk about it in the book, but the fact that it exists, it does make sense because he was the Herald of War. And the Alethi are a very, very warlike people. but I just found its existence interesting.
Yeah, they literally believe that when they die, they go to war and like forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally makes you think of the Vikings and Valhalla and stuff.
Oh,
like
absolutely, Valhalla. Valhalla.
Yeah, it works. I think. Did you skip the? Oh, I guess you do have just the Spren out of order because I can't find the map, but that's okay. Anyway, we can continue.
Okay. Then the next one, we're moving back to Shallan's sketchbook. So I love the Shallan sketchbook moments.
Or wait, this is
because
the wrong
again,
one.
Spren.
this is Brandon's opportunity to put
This one's sick. Got the wrong one.
some info dump stuff, some world building stuff,
And
just into a very visual
There we go.
form.
And I needed this because, like, I always struggled to figure out what they look like. They talk about them, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna register it as that's a pain Spren thing popping up. I kind of gave up trying to picture them sometimes because I couldn't keep track of them all. But having some visuals of them like this helped me keep more of them straight that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is where she draws the Spren that are in Kholinar. Now, are these ones that have been corrupted by Sia-Anat?
So
I don't think it's not.
or is this
Shallan.
because of the other?
Some are. So the one,
Okay.
like you see the hand on the left, that's a normal pain Spren, which is the sinuous
Right, but what
hand, and then the one on
But
the
what
right.
I'm saying, are the Kholinar Spren in general, are those the ones that have been?
I don't think it's Sia-Anat.
Corrupted.
It's the other. Is it
Because
her?
Revel?
Sia-Anat is the one who.
Sia-Anat's there. She's in Kholinar.
But it's
Yes.
the Revel I thought that was making him really weird.
I think he was what was making everyone act weird. I think Sia-Anat's
Right.
the reason.
I think Sia-Anat's the one who's doing things to the Spren, though.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm really bad at keeping that straight.
Yeah, because she isn't like it makes sense that there'd be a bunch of enlightened Spren all around her.
Yeah.
That's it, and that's one of the things that makes I over the course of the series, I am inclined, I could be completely wrong about this, to believe that Sia-Anat is telling the truth when she talks to Shallan, but the pain Spren being like a sickly green color with long claws and distorted proportions, that's like a creepy feeling, and that's just like,
Oh yeah.
Well, all of them get creepier. Like even the Gliss, where like instead of light refracting through, it's like dripping upwards. It's like it's always wrong.
it's different.
Yeah.
But sickly green is like, it's a decay, it's a rot, there's something.
Yeah, it looks like the wall crawlers from Legend of Zelda. Or
I
floor
love
masters. Floor masters. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
It's just creepy. Ugh.
And then, but like, for example, with Shame Spren, they've been transformed as they normally look like falling blossoms, but now they look like shards of broken glass. Okay, that's different. That's strange, but it doesn't have that squick factor that the pain Spren do.
Falling glass for me triggers just like that triggers some fear for me just because stepping on glass.
See, and for me, it makes me think kind of that dress that Shalash was wearing.
Yeah,
It's shards of crystal.
that dress did not look comfortable.
No, it would not be comfortable.
I like Shallan's little note. The sense of embarrassment itself appears unaffected, because you remember the scene where
She embarrassed
like
herself?
threw herself and basically ended up flashing the group.
Yes, I do agree with that. She's like, well, that experiment went fine. Nothing changed about that. And they're all like, what just happened? I don't know what's going on.
But I love that we get a little context. Oh, that's what happened. It's like it's very cleverly.
She's being
Inserted.
a scholar here. She's trying to take points of data.
Yeah, what is she doing? Like, it doesn't make sense as far as, because like Shallan says, it doesn't affect the actual emotion they feel. It just affects how the Spren looks, which means, first of all, I want to know what a pain Spren looks like in the cognitive realm, because in this realm they have hands, and I'm just worried like it's some sort of like something from something from like Doctor Strange, where it's just hands upon hands, and I don't like this.
See, it's not an actual hand; it's probably the tongue or something.
Yeah, and I don't want tongues that are also hands.
No, but I want to go back to just Brandon's use of this narratively because, in my opinion, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before. I feel like there's a lot of times when Brandon's trying to be funny, and it gets a bit heavy-handed, and it loses me a bit. This, in my opinion, was cleverly funny, and it was because. You're just reading Shallan's notation. She's like, the sense of embarrassment itself appears unaffected. I'm just like, okay, that made me laugh. Because it's a little it's a little peek into Shallan and her embarrassment. And you're just like, oh, I make that connection. That's fun. And so I feel like this was actually genuinely funny for Brandon. While some of his light song stuff, for example, in Warbreaker, I fell a little flat for me because it felt like this is Brandon trying to be funny rather than a funny scene that is showing up. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was looking into Paintsbrand for a second, so.
Also, the other thing that's really interesting is the Hunger Spren, for whatever reason, aren't affected by this.
We later on see one though.
The Hunger Spren or the Paintsbrand?
An enlightened Hunger Spren.
Do we?
So, I was looking that up somewhere in the Coppermind. It talked about that.
I don't recall that.
I'd have to give me a second to look it up.
In this wiki, it talks about the Paintsbrand when they're in Shadesmar are known as grinders, and they're really dangerous. So I think they run away from them, so they don't see them.
Yeah.
What they look like.
Okay, moving on to a page from Mythica, the Taker of Secrets. So Mythica is the book that was written by Hesse, and we get excerpts of it in the epigrams.
I found the Hunger Spren thing. Apparently, enlightened ones are black and resemble the fly seen on rotting plants.
I don't know when we saw that.
I'd have to go look it up, but it's in the rule book.
Okay. But anyway, so back to Mythica.
Yep.
Again, this was the piece. It was recently written by a scholar named Hesse. Hesse's Mythica is one of the sections of epigrams that we get in Oathbringer. And it's one of the ones where we get a lot of looks into the unmade.
Yeah, this is just pretty, the art they have on it. I mean, it's freaky, but pretty.
Mm-hmm. And it looks at the dual nature of Sja-anat, who is the creator and corrupter. Mm-hmm. Unique among the unmade. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you hear something like that and you think, well, what makes them unique? Why are they unique? Brandon, tell me why she's unique.
I think because she creates, maybe?
I don't know.
Like, because the only other one that creates in any sort of way is
Ba'ato Mishram?
No, the Raisha Fear. Like where she's trying to make she's only imitating. Whereas Sja-anat's actually changing something actively.
I don't know.
And so that might be what makes her unique.
But the two sections that are mentioned in the Mythicas, it says creator, her twisted creations are her beloved children. Her admiration of the spren of our world inspires her. And then corrupter, she seeks the children of honor and the children of cultivation. With one touch, she corrupts.
Which it sounds It sounds like, from her perspective, they have to agree to it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I mean, whoever's writing, they probably didn't talk to her, so they don't
This
know.
is an in-world work, so we don't know. Now, it's interesting because I believe Yasna mentioned that she believes it's just pure bunk. You know, she's like, she doesn't believe that it's an entirely scholarly work, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. But she still studies it because she thinks
Because
Yeah, well,
there
of
could be
course,
something,
because
valuable in it. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Xia not like she's gonna be really important. She's just getting, little tidbits here and there, and we actually even got a perspective from her in Rhythm of War.
The other thing, there's two things just about this as a piece of art I find very interesting. One, just this looks very very Gregorian era as far as
Absolutely,
like how all the letters are drawn.
It looks like an illuminated manuscript.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. The other thing is the three, I guess, flourishes you see on it clearly. Referencing the three shards on the planet. You have the clouds. It's clearly honor. The high storm.
The vines.
You have all the vines of cultivation, and then you have a bunch of just sharp things for odium.
Yeah.
Odium is very pointy, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on?
Yes.
Sure.
All right, so this is another map. It's a portion of the Sea of Lost Lights, which is a view of a very specific area of Roshar in Shadesmar. And we get more notations from Naj, and there are so many noodle incidents through here. The trope, the noodle incident, it's basically something that happened off screen that is very interesting, but they never tell you about it because it's more fun that way.
Well, this is something Brandon talks about, where if you put things like this in your book, people will believe that you know what's going on, which makes the world feel a lot bigger, even if you don't know.
And they'll even start filling in the gaps themselves.
It's just as long as you give that hint that, yes, there is more depth to it, then you don't have to do the whole way down. You just give the surface of it.
Well, and they'll fill in the gaps with something more interesting than whatever you could tell them. So, for example, I rode that Mandra from here to Celebrant, so you owe me those silver pieces after all. I also find that interesting because Naj is from Trinity. Silver's important on Trinity.
Yeah, but I mean, he also feels old enough that I could see him being like not as concerned about it, because if he's not on Trinity, then it's still important, but it's not as important.
Perhaps. But also, silver's important. I still think there's something special about silver because Brandon wanted tin to be silver.
Yeah.
And Brandon wants silver to be important.
And he changed it.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. Don't know the exact reasons for it just yet, but
for what?
For why he changed it.
Oh no, why he changed it is because he thought that pewter was an alloy of silver, and it's not. That's the reason he changed it.
Yeah, but why not pick something else? Like want something that is an alloy of silver.
I think pewter was important for it to be that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
But just knowing how far ahead Brandon plans things, there's all sorts of things.
Well, and also, this is on Roshar / Shadesmar, the Shadesmar area of Roshar.
Yeah.
Silver pieces aren't really necessarily a currency in this area. So.
No. No.
But who knows? I mean, Silver Light is the name of the city that Chris is studying. Helped found the university in. So.
Yeah.
The second one is one that I'm fairly certain that we will eventually get more information on.
Smolderbrand?
Yes, Smolderbrand. Just first of all, what a name! I'm imagining an Ashbrand or something.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was imagining a pirate.
It could be a pirate Ash.
Yeah, it could be both. Why pick?
Both. We like both.
They stole this map from her, and it's just like, oh man!
Come on, Brandon.
I need to
let me hear the story. Let Isaac write the story.
Let us know who's this Smolderbrand the Savvy or whatever. I don't know. Do something with it.
Of Smolderbrand's channel.
Yeah.
I also like spren fishing is illegal here, which is in a town called Ravizat. But their jail is nicer than most. It starts giving you a peek into who Naj is.
But he's been put in so many prisons that he has opinions on them.
Well, I want to know what spren fishing is.
And in the previous, the thing on the glyphs, he was talking about how, I prefer blood stains to ink stains. So it's just like, Naj, who are you?
What is your deal? Oh, man.
No. The other one that we're probably going to get more on. Avoid caretaker of laughter at all cost. Which it's a place, not a person. Or it might be both. Who knows? But
it looks like there's a building there, so it makes you think it's a place.
Yeah. But just that, it's just like that. It's Ravenholm. We don't go there anymore. And I'm just like, I have a feeling we're going to be going there.
And I hate this lake. Next to Thalen City. Yes.
Well, the other thing is just so interesting because of the inverse nature of the cognitive realm. It's just so weird to look at it and see all these like lines of land. Since
the little tendrils.
Yeah. Almost like veins.
Yeah.
And it's just, how would that change how you do things? It's just like you would have to, like, channels would be really important.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just so many little things getting in the way.
They'd be like your bridges.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Also, there's just one little part where he just writes, "I hate this lake." Nothing else, just "I hate this lake." So something happened.
Yeah.
Because he's also got that very just that's so jaded. He's like, "I hate this lake." So
yeah.
I hate this lake. The beads get everywhere.
But yeah. Okay. Move on to Rosharan wines.
Yes. We will do that quickly.
Swiftly, Jordan. Swiftly. Make it happen.
There we go.
I clicked away for a second.
And again, we get more peanut gallery comments from Naj throughout this whole thing, which is just delightful.
I like how at the end, towards the bottom, it says, "Winespren are quite rare, reported only in foreign nations." And he's like, "What? Rare? I see these all the time."
So is Naj an alcoholic, or
no,
is it just
no.
I actually have a theory about that. They say that they're spren. They say they only see them in Erie. We've seen weird things with connection to the land before. What if they're not rare? It's that it has something to do with if you're where you're supposed to be, like where you're from, you're less likely to see them.
You're less likely,
or more likely to see, like if you're at home. There's something. Like, I think it's weird they say, "Oh, it's only in foreign lands," or is that because Alethi only see it when they're away from Alethula?
You know what I would suspect? Perhaps they fear the thrill.
Could be.
Because, the thrill has been in Alethula for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Naj has seen them all the time.
Right, but Naj isn't always in Elethkar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something... It's interesting.
This graphic programmer says drunk tourist spread.
Well, and then you have I love the Horn-Eater logger responsible for that embarrassing tattoo of mine.
Which says something else about Naj. He has drunk it before and survived.
Yeah.
Now, it hit him hard.
Yeah.
But, considering how dismissive he is of a lot of the others, it's just like, okay, so Naj can hold his drink.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and just, it's interesting as well. First of all, the picture they have different colors for each of the wines, but they all have this radial symmetry that is like, this is detail that is not necessary at all, but it looks
pretty.
good.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing that's interesting about the wines, which is basically a general Rocharan term for any type of alcohol, sort of like how they refer to all birds as chickens.
Yes.
All alcohol is wine to them. And all of the alcohol typically is clear, and they dye it to indicate how intoxicating it is. I just find that fascinating.
Color-coded for your convenience.
Yeah. How drunk do you want to get?
I do like Naj's comment about the pink, which is the weakest one. It says, I've had milk more intoxicating than this. And I'm like, I don't think milk should be intoxicating, right?
You can ferment milk.
Yeah, it's called spoiling. But
no, you can ferment milk. So.
I'm sure there are ways. I am not experienced in that at all.
But I like how he gives us a sense of scale by going through. He's like, okay, this is where normal wine would be. This is where whiskey would be.
Yeah.
Which makes it so that you understand whenever or in earlier books, whenever Adolin's talking about how he's just drinking an orange, where he's just basically he's socially drinking because you have to, but
he's drinking club soda.
Yeah, he's trying to follow his father's orders. Whereas when we get the lapis, I think, is that what lapis or lavis?
Lavis.
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 Lavis. Which is, I think, when Shallan first goes out as Vale, I think that's what she first started drinking was the lavis.
Sapphire is the lavis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was undyed, and so you found that's where we found out. Oh, okay, so this is.
It gets dyed.
Yeah. Well, and they're like, we're not rich enough to just dye our beers. No, it's a lavis. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
And so when she drinks it, and you're just like, oh, so she started at whiskey and then went to Horn Eater.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what you'd call Horn Eater.
I'm imagining vodka levels, maybe, because she says it's basically like it sounds like it's turpentine. You just use it to peel paint off.
Oh no, yeah, Horn Eater White is basically just like a grain alcohol, just pure grain alcohol. Like if you've ever watched Parks and Recreation, it's the stuff
the moonshine.
It's the moonshine that Ron Swanson just downs for the drinking contest. Leslie Knope takes a sip of it, her eyes crossed. I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
And so that's just hard alcohol.
But this is, again, just shows his world building. All right.
Okay. Next, Shallan's notebook. So this one just has a whole lot of notes about mandras, which there's a lot about mandras.
They're kind of cute too. I like that. I'd forgotten what they looked like. They look like whales, but also like things from like Studio Ghibli almost.
These are the Luxbrand, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Because
Yeah.
they have the triangle heads.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's just the skull part that comes through.
And they use them to pull the ships.
Yeah.
What are they called? The
Reachers.
The Reachers, yeah. The Reachers use them to pull the ships across the Sea of Beads.
There's something with this weird line of eyes that they have that it's reminded me of something, but I can't remember what. But it makes me think of it's so alien looking.
It makes me think of deep sea fish and spiders.
It's like a Metroid boss.
Krogan. It reminds me of the Krogan.
It does from Mass Effect. I could see that
because they have they have that arrow-like face, and then they have the multiple eyes.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah.
Now, obviously,
I was thinking I can't remember his name. The lava crocodile boss in Super Metroid.
Crocomire.
Crocomire, yeah. That's sort of what it reminded me of.
That also works. Although I don't think we're going to reduce this one to a skeleton that'll freak us out later.
You don't know.
I don't. You're correct.
They're cute. I leave them alone. I like them.
Also, isn't there some sort of connection between them and what's Chiri Chiri?
Oh. What kind of creature is Chiri Chiri?
She's a chicken.
What are they called? No, I'm blanking on the name. Wow, why can I not remember this? I know this.
Larkin?
Larkin, that's it.
Yes.
Weird way to say
I feel like there's some sort of connection between them. I can't remember what
yes,
it is.
I think
so this is in...
They're gravitation sprint, aren't they? Like, isn't that the actual thing?
Yeah, like
Yes.
Chiri Chiri's sick and not getting better. And
That's
it's
right.
because they haven't gone to Imea or near Imea or whatever to get some luck spread.
That's right. I need to reread Dawnshard. I haven't read it since that marathon session.
Oh, man,
we did
yeah.
Back when it came out.
Oh, the reading.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
I think Lux Sprint are actually like they have something to do with gravity, and so they make things lighter. Because I think the great shells also bond them, and that's how they
Yes.
get to such big sizes. Basically, their bond lets them be lighter than they should be.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to Navani's notebook, where it's just called Vambrace.
Whatever. We
Which
can
is
all
the
tell
pa-
she's trying to build at some point. This is going to be a Mega Man cannon, and I'm
Well,
going to be okay
this
with
is the
this.
pain reel. This is the pain reel. We've seen
Yeah.
her use this.
Yes, but eventually it's going to be a Mega Man cannon. She'll be shooting lemons at people.
It makes me think of Assassin's Creed. That's what it does.
It's the hidden blade.
Yes. This one just brings pain, not blood. So, it's all good.
But yeah.
Yes, man. Okay, and I'm now imagining, man, Assassin's Creed in your theory would be awesome.
Oh, my
All those layers you could climb, and then you just have one little thing of hay at the very bottom. You can jump off the entire thing.
That would be insane. And you get Windsprint following you down.
Yeah.
This also probably led to the creation of Kaladin's Spider-Man gadget in Rhythm of War.
I think it was one of Navani's people that was fooling around with stuff, and they built that.
Yeah.
But just these arm-mounted.
Where Navani looked at it, she could see the disaster that was going to happen. It's like, so you're just gonna flip it on and okay? How about we do a little safer testing?
How about we control the experiment just a little bit?
Experimental design is really important. You learn it in your science classes.
But yeah, the women's script on this one says, touch the gems in the correct combination to release a shock from the front nodes that will incapacitate an attacker.
And she does so.
Yeah, so the pain reel is meant to absorb pain and stop it, but if you touch the gems in the correct combination, it basically reverses that and just sends them only pain. It's like that line from The Simpsons, just like, he feels no pain. And he's like, he looks like he's dying. He's like, oh, wait, sorry, my English is bad. He feels only pain.
Well, the thing I love about it is, like, why would you build this? It's like, well, Navani and Dalinar are getting up there in years. They're, and so it makes sense to me that someone who's a little older would be the one who would come up with this, because they're just sitting here just like, oh, my back. It's
like the ultimate ibuprofen that doubles as a taser.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah,
and then,
that'd be nice.
But yeah, then Navani's like, wait a minute.
Ooh, let's do that backwards.
But yeah. And part of me wonders, as they're experimenting to create this pain reel, I'm guessing that the taser part was discovered by accident.
Well, we do
I have
know
a feeling
that
that's probably the case.
we do remember that Navani tested it on herself. Like, that's how she knew how painful it was, which came into very important use when it came time for her fight with Raboniel. Because she was expecting the pain. She knows what it is. And so she's able to fight through it, whereas Raboniel was not.
She wasn't expecting it, and so it just dropped her.
Well, and it's also Raboniel is like stronger than Navani is. And so that also lets you know how powerful this is. We've seen it take down, fully in their prime soldiers and fused. Not fused. Fused.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So we've got a couple more of Shallan's sketchbooks. There's not a whole lot of text on here, but there's a lot of cool stuff on here.
And there's a doodle, too. I don't remember who did the doodle.
I thought it was Adolin,
I don't remember
wasn't
the doodle.
it?
I missed the doodle.
Was it? I don't remember, but there was somebody did like a doodle in the top quarter, and it's like drawing is easy.
I think it was Vale. It was Vale, I think.
Oh, could it
That's
be Vale?
right.
That makes more sense because I'm
Vale.
like, because Adolin can't write, and then so she has to know clearly it's not.
Well, you notice she also drew the Ghostbloods.
Yep.
Symbol. The the Ghostblood symbol.
Oh, where was that?
In the top right corner.
Upper right,
Oh,
right
there
underneath.
it is,
the
yeah.
ruling.
It's hiding almost in the book crease there.
So,
like I said, little things that just sort of give you insight into characters without beating you over the head, saying, this is happening.
Yeah.
well, and I love we get to see the anticipation spread, which I remember how
creepy.
It's almost like they've got like an oyster shell for a mouth. But then they have these weird streamers that come out. I just remember like when Kaladin was trying to infiltrate the lighthouse, and he's like all of a sudden all these anticipation spread are like coming around him and just just sticking their tongue. He's like, go away, and like he's just feeling more anxious and more of them like, oh my God, what's this about? And he's just like, son of a gun. Fear Sprint, on the other hand, looked like the nightmare version of the Yip Yips from Sesame Street.
Oh my goodness,
Yep.
yeah. That is freaky. And what are the top ones?
Glory Spren.
Oh, those are glory? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the globe is what they see on this side, and the corrupted ones have the cube head.
And the Glory Spren are the ones that a lot of us suspect make up the Bondsmith armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if they didn't, that'd be weird.
Yeah.
But no, I love Shallan's note on the Fear Spren, just being like, why do they have mouths?
Because they devour your fear.
That's it. They followed them, but they never. I don't believe they ever attacked.
Yeah.
No, the anger Spren are the ones they were afraid of.
And the pain. It was the pain sprint, too, they were told to run away from.
Yeah. There was one more that was like, Syl said like her aunt hunted one of the Spren the way they do chasm fiends or something. I don't remember which one that was.
I don't remember.
Oh, where was that? Gloom Spren.
Oh.
Which, Kaladin's able to get those going pretty well.
They follow him everywhere.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is just a cool picture.
Yeah.
And it's just a very good illustration, a good image of the Oathgate Spren. You've just got that black and white.
The absolute units they are.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, they're enormous.
Like when she talked about how big they were, like in the story, in my head I was imagining, like a giant from most fantasy novels where they're like 4 or 5 times the size of a man. And so I was expecting something like that. And it's like, no, these are mechas from Pacific Rim.
These are enormous. Yeah.
It's a Gundam thing going on here.
It's got a very chess appearance to me.
And it makes me think of Never Ending Story and like
the Sphinxes.
Yes, it makes me think of that.
Yeah, it makes me think of that. And also, like I said, with chess, it makes me think of Alice Through the Looking Glass. Just where you had the red queen and the white queen. And just the actual chess pieces.
Yeah, no, these totally could be like rooks or knights or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say knights, probably. Maybe bishops.
Yeah, bishops with the hats.
The spears, yeah. That.
The very
That's just
uncomfortable
hair.
looking hats. Well, and the other thing is the black one looks very similar to an ink Spren.
It does a little bit, yeah.
Especially because they're like very rigid looking, and they can't change their shape, but they can change their size. And so, I don't know. I wonder if there's a connection somewhere
I don't know.
there.
That's an interesting point. Good thought.
But it's they're big boys or girls. I don't know. I don't know how Spren do that. I think one of them was one was a man, one was a woman in the Oathgate in Kolinar, I think was.
I thought they were both
I don't recall.
male, but I don't remember.
Again, it's been a while since we've.
It's been a minute.
And
No, I don't know.
Oathbringer's not a book one reads lightly. Literally because of its weight, but also because it's
Not at all.
emotionally heavy as well.
All right, one last image.
Thalen
And that is a
City.
map of Thalen City. Now, there's all sorts of annotations in this one. This isn't Naj's handwriting. I'm not sure whose handwriting it is. I didn't get a chance to look over this one that much before we started.
I haven't seen this
episode.
handwriting anywhere else, so I wonder if it's somebody else. I'm guessing.
Might be Queen Fen,
But-
maybe.
Well, except that the writing is in. It's not in the women's script.
But
Yeah.
But does she do that in Thalenov versus Alethkar?
I'm not sure.
Because they speak a different language, I thought.
They do.
But they also speak.
So
Alethi.
Doc FG in chat says, I wonder if it's Dalinar's because he does learn to write. I would say yes, except that this is fancy handwriting.
He's got pretty handwriting.
this
If that's
is-
the
this is-
case.
Yeah, this is
Like-
not someone who's just learned.
Who's just barely learned to write. I wondered that myself because a lot of the notations are tactical
it says
points.
by Navani.
Okay, but
That's
it's
what he
just not
says
in
there,
the,
so
it's
anyway.
just not in the women's script.
But
Which,
probably
I mean,
because
if she's marking it so Dalinar can read it, then it would make sense or something. Oh, it says bottom left.
bottom left. What bottom left?
Oh, right. You're right. Written by Navani Colin.
Okay, I just
Bottom
can't
left
see it.
comment. Sorry, like I said, I haven't had a chance to look through this one as much. So my apologies for that.
But no, it's
Thank you.
it's interesting to just actually have these maps and sort of try and figure out where everything was going on.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I find interesting, and they talk a little bit about this in the book, but a lot of the Thalens worship the passions, but there's temples to every single one of the heralds throughout the city.
Yeah, because they have all those locations noted.
Well, and Dalinar helps to repair part of one of them. At one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, he does.
Using
And-
his
and one
his
of
forgery
them-
powers.
One of them, I remember, was converted into a hospital.
Yeah, I think it was one of those, not one of the, not the palace.
No, it was one of the temples.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting culture in Thalena.
yeah. Well, it's interesting how because the Ardents, they view them basically one step away from pagans.
Right. And so the fact that they follow both is interesting.
Yeah, my dad, when he lived in Brazil, said it was a very similar thing where they're very Catholic, but they still have a lot of the superstitious side that's left over from the more ancient culture that they have. And he was there as a missionary. He just said, as much as they were very Catholic people, they still were very superstitious to the point where kids would sometimes, for fun, take a dead crow and throw it in the middle of an intersection, because part of their superstition is you can't cross a dead crow, and so none of them wanted to touch it. So they'd called the two white guys that lived there from America who weren't superstitious, and he said they'd go in there and they'd have to go pick it up, and as they're going there, you just see everyone just sort of holding grip onto the car, just praying for them. They pick it up and everyone cheers. Yay! It's just because that's just that was just a very specific. He said it was specific to this one town for some reason. where it was just this very superstitious thing. And I just imagine it's sort of like that, where, the Ardents are like, oh, they're mostly good. And then, like, they bring up this one thing, and then the Ardents are like, dang it. And you're just like, yeah, okay, guys, there's a lot going on right now. Can we just drop it? Because there's literally giant stone creatures that are knocking down walls.
Yep.
I think it's a little better than your petty squabbles. I think we should focus on, the...
Yeah, you can get back to that later.
The giant rock monster from Galaxy Quest.
Gorignac.
Yeah. Am I the only one where they bring up those guys that's what they imagine? I imagine Galaxy Quest.
Maybe.
No, I pictured something a little taller, but...
Well, and we know that they're angular faces as well, but for some reason my mind always goes back to...
Are you talking about the Thunderclasts?
Yeah.
I always picture the Ice Titan from Hercules.
Oh, me too! That's kind of what I think of as that, but rock instead of ice.
Here's your reminder.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see these cultures clash. This is the biggest as far as he's ever had of multiple cultures on a same planet intermixing.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason I picture the Ice Titan is because on the back of Oathbringer, it has an image that is very similar to the Ice Titan's foot.
Yeah.
Well, it shows up to like it's almost part of its chest.
And its head is supposed to look like a chasm fiend, which is interesting. I wonder what that's about.
Well, it's on Roshar, so you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, this episode's gone kind of long, so we should probably start wrapping up.
Holy cow! I did not realize how much time it has. Time flies.
We do love hearing from. Indeed. We love hearing from our listeners, so please keep sending in questions and comments. You can ask us about the Cosmere. You can drop us your ideas for topics that you want us to discuss during the show. And while you're at it, we would love to hear your feedback about how you think we're doing, as well as any interesting theories you might have about what's going on in the Cosmere. You can send any questions to or suggestions in a brief, concise email to cosmerestudies@gmail.com, and hopefully we could actually even read that as part of the show. If you prefer to send us a physical letter, we do have a P.O. Box at the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, P.O. Box 970063, Orem, Utah 84097. We've got our own personal projects that we work on as well. So, Amy, why don't you tell us where we can find you outside of this podcast?
Okay. My Facebook is Coincidence Cosplay and Props. My Twitter is @CoincidenceCosp because my name is too long.
Oh, okay.
My Instagram is @coincidence_cosplay. My TikTok is @coincidencecosplay. And my website is www.coincidencecosplay.com. So I made jam today, but I'm not taking pictures of that. Sorry. So I've been super bad about posting, but
I'm sorry. You can't just say you made jam. What kind of jam?
I made apricot jam for my mother-in-law's apricot tree that I froze this summer.
I love apricot jam. It's so good.
If you want some, I have a jar that didn't seal, so you could keep it.
It always tastes like popcorn.
Anyway, so I made jam today. That's what I've been doing. And we've also been working on our house a little bit here and there, but mostly for my social media stuff, I have not put up too much stuff. I did put up a video on my TikTok where I'm in my Twi'lek costume and I'm doing like the head bob beat thing. Anyway, but yeah, I'm trying to get stuff prepped for my D&D TikTok group. I'm gonna finish my Nazgul. I really am, I promise. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is that.
Oh, it's
cool.
So that's me.
It's going to be interesting to see you in the Nazgul costume.
I know, it's gonna be awesome.
And Jordan, how about you? Where can we find your stuff, and what are you up to?
Best place to find me will always be twitch.tv/splicestream, where I stream at least 3-4 times a week. It's a lot of fun, a lot of Smash, a lot of Amiibo stuff. On Wednesdays, I try and branch out and do other things. Not sure what I'm going to do this week. I'm thinking I might play Dead Cells for the first time. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, but we'll have to play it by ear. If you are interested in Super Smash Bros. At all, I highly request you show up on Thursdays when I do my Amiibo Raid Boss Tower, where you take on an increasingly more difficult challenge of fighting versus amiibo. Even if you're not good, I'd request you try it out. I think you'll like it.
If you're not good, don't worry about it. I didn't make it past the first one.
No, so like how do you do it, Jordan? Because that's the part that always has made me hesitant. Is
so through
timing.
I do it through the battle arena system. So you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online to do it.
Okay.
But basically, you come in, we vote on categories, and depending upon which category they choose, it determines which amiibo you'll fight. So, like, say the categories are round versus square. Round might be a character like Kirby, Jigglypuff, Meta Knight, whereas square might be a character like Rob or Cloud.
Okay.
Because Squaresoft.
Yeah, there we go.
Square EX.
And I do crap like that throughout. And so as you climb higher, they get more stats, more spirit effect. They're very difficult. I patterned it after Ninja Warrior. So it's not about you're not expected to beat it. That's not the expectations. Yeah. It's just to see how high you can climb. I would like Bill you to try it again at some point, because Bill was kind enough to be the very first person to try it out, and we made some changes afterwards.
Oh boy!
I'd like to see. We can never get the timing right. Yeah.
Someday maybe.
I might do it if we can never get the timing right, but I don't know. It's hard timing.
Well,
this is like
Amy did provide us. Amy did provide us with one of our categories.
Yes.
I'm like, I want a category for cuteness. Amy, just tell me which characters make you squee. So she gave you the list. It's completely arbitrary, I will admit, but if you listen to the show, you have a little bit of a leg up. You're just like, what? See, Amy might squee at this one.
Yeah, it's weird, because I remember I showed you the list and you're like, you chose what? And I'm like,
she
really
squeed
like
at Marth, and I don't support this, but it's I asked.
I love Martha. Yeah. Anyway, it's fun times.
Amy, I'm ashamed of you right now.
But I've never actually played Fire Emblem. I just really like the sword guys that stab really well, and I can button mash and kill things, and it's fine. And he's pretty, so that helps.
Okay. As for myself, I have another podcast with my friend Dylan where we talk about board games. It's called The Innkeeper's Table, and we have new episodes on Friday mornings. Really exciting, because Dylan and I are getting ready to go to Dice Tower West, which is in Las Vegas. So we're going to have fun there, because we're a part of the Dice Tower network. We're going to do some networking and have a lot of fun with that as well. Our most recent episode of the show, though, was our top 3 games with a gimmick. Games that just have a central gimmick, and we kind of left that open to interpretation. And then the next episode was we answered a question from our mailbag where somebody asked how to find new games based on games that you already knew that you liked. I do have other board game reviews. Normally I would say at www.innkeeperstable.com, but right now that is down. I'm trying to get that fixed up. It's not too much work. I just haven't been able to sit down and get it done. And then I also occasionally post about games on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Innkeeper's Table or at Innkeeper's Table Podcast. For those of you who want to support the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies, but you can't become patrons, we would love it if you just let your friends know about the show. Just spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, to like and subscribe over on youtube.com/Cosmere Studies. And if you give us a good review wherever you listen to us, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, we'd love that too. And if you're watching on YouTube, comment on the videos as well. We love to hear your feedback through that. All right, guys, final thoughts on the art from this book.
It's pretty and insightful.
Especially after Dragon Con, we've harped on this a lot. Or Dragonsteel Minicon. Dragon Con's something different. It's impressive the breadth of art styles he's able to fit into these books. It's all over the place, and it's impressive. It adds such depth to the world that we wouldn't get otherwise, and so I'm kind of pumped that the more we get Brandon, the more popular Brandon gets, the more stuff he's able to sneak into these books.
Yeah. No, I love that how much Nash stuff we get in this book, just because he's another of those interesting characters that I want to know more about. You know, we've got Hoyd, we've got Nash, we've got Chris, we've got the background Cosmere characters that I want to learn more about. And I felt like we got a little bit of insight, of course, more questions than answers, but still. That's
how you make it enticing. Just enough to give them a little slack, then you reel them in.
Oh, also, Doc FG in chat wants us to mention that if you are thinking about becoming a patron and joining the Discard, on alternating Mondays, the Mondays that we don't have a podcast, they are now having regular games where they play Bring Your Own Book, like we did on our 100th episode with Charlie. So that's
it was fun the one time I managed to
incentive
to be there
to come.
For it. It was fun.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
special thanks.
Just gonna say, if you haven't tried it, you should do it, and not just because that means you joined our Discord and gave us money. not just because of that. It's also fun.
Yep. Special thanks to our patron producer, Mim's Laundry Service. Whether you prefer bloodstains or ink stains, we can remove all stains. In addition to the live episodes of the show that stream on twitch.tv/Innkeeper's Table every 2 weeks on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, listeners can find our videos on YouTube or audio versions of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about any other service that carries podcasts by searching for Cosmere Studies. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under the profile @Cosmere Studies. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions for the show, email them to cosmerestudies@gmail.com. In our next episode, Dan Wells will be our guest, and we are really excited. And you should be too. So don't miss it. Be here at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern in 2 weeks on February 28th, 2022 at www.twitch.tv/InnkeepersTable. Until then, on behalf of Amy, Jordan, and myself, thanks for listening, and remember,
there's always another secret.